Hi, welcome to our mini makeover Mondays. My name is Wendy Brown and I am a professional organizer and the owner of Seeking Sanity. Today we are going to be organizing underneath the sink. So we're going to just jump right in and go ahead and get started. And I'm really excited for this video because I've actually recruited the help of a camera woman. My sweet daughter-in-law, Sam, is going to be running the camera for us. So hopefully you won't be seeing half pictures and all that crazy stuff that was happening before. So we're just going to go right over here and just do a quick recap. As you guys remember, if you've been on the other videos, we always pull everything out, sort it into like categories so that we know what we have before we get to the point where we are actually putting things into the cabinet or the closet or whatever it is we happen to be organizing. So before we get started on products and different ways we can organize this space, I want to talk a little bit about that sorting process. So as we're going through and pulling things out, no doubt you're going to come across a lot of things that probably have dust on them, that you probably can't remember when you purchased them and how old they are. And I do need to tell you that cosmetics and toiletries absolutely do have expiration dates. Some of them are more important than others, and so it's really important to be mindful of that. So after the video today, I will go ahead and put some links down in the comments for some resources so that you can see what the expiration dates are. But really the longest expiration date on any of the toiletries, cosmetics type things is about 3 years. So if you can, and that's unopened. So if you can't remember when you purchased it last, or if it's got dust on it when you pull it out of the cabinet or the drawer, it's pretty safe to say that you probably haven't used it in a while and you're probably not going to use it. So I might let that dust be an indicator to you that that one's okay to go ahead and toss. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the organizing solutions that are available to you depending on what your setup is. So we're just going to go over here to underneath this cabinet. This cabinet happens to be underneath my bathroom sink. And it doesn't matter which sink you're organizing under. What matters more is what's happening under your sink. So as you can see up underneath it here, we have those lovely pipes and valves that turn the water on and off that are always in the way and really mess with organizing underneath sinks. And so there's really no one cut and dry solution for that. So my first tip on that is you decide what needs to live here, and the things that you use on a daily basis need to take priority. So if you don't have room for all in here, you'll need to find it, because we really want this space to be functional. And depending on the drawers and the other cabinets you have in your area, you may need to store a lot of things under here and maximize that space. So we're going to start here. There's a lot of ways that you can maximize the space underneath. This first product right here is just an over-the-door rack. I love these because you don't have to install anything on your cabinet doors. They come in tiered ones like this, or you can just get solid ones. So depending on what it is you want to store in those, you can find a solution. I just be sure to measure your door, of course, and note the measurements on the rack to make sure it's going to fit. The one thing you do have to realize with these is you'll notice on this back inside, because you've got to have some clearance in the front for that door to be able to shut. So things can't come all the way to the front if you're using one of these on your door. So they've got these. If we just jump over to this other side, you can even get them where they'll hold your hair dryer, your curling iron, all of those sorts of things. And this space is actually much more accessible than the space lower down in the cabinet. And so we like to utilize this space on the doors whenever possible. Another thing that we can do is look at doubling this space inside the cabinet. So this first unit I got from Bed Bath & Beyond, and it's just a pull-out drawer with a divider, so you can, decide space you need and put the things in there. And then it's got this flat top that you can either use flat, like I did, or they actually make another basket like this that idea of drawers, because drawers just make it a lot easier to access the things inside of the cabinet. If you don't want to buy a whole unit like that and you're kind of on a budget and want to go something a little bit less expensive, you can always go with the shelf extender route. So you can see that a tall shelf extender, I talked about this before, we get these at Container Store, is about the same height as that. Taller items, bottles, and different things under there. This, my tall one won't fit in this cupboard, so we're going to demonstrate with the shorter one. But you can see you can double down your space, and then I like to use containers underneath. You just get a container that would fit the width of the organizer that you use. And you can pull those out, and so now that becomes, again, just like a drawer. So it's really simple, really easy to reach and get the things out of that cupboard that you need to reach. Other options, you've seen these pull-out drawers. This is a miniature version. I don't have a size that would be appropriate for this cabinet. This is actually out of my laundry room, but you get the idea. You can do something like that that stacks in and takes the space. And again, we've got the drawers for easy access. If you do end up storing things in here that are more backstock, then you could go ahead and use the totes with the lids. I just don't like to use the totes with the lids for things that we're going to use every day, because then it just gets a little bit cumbersome. So having a drawer or a bin or something you can pull out and stick right up on top of the counter and use or get into really easily is much better for efficiency and function than containers with lids. Also, depending on the space that you're organizing, if it's underneath, say, a kitchen sink, Lazy Susans are kind of an organizer's best friend. We use them all over the place. This is another good option. You could even put a Lazy Susan in on top of that shelf, and it would still spin, and you'd have really easy access to the things in there. A lot of times people want to keep cleaners underneath their sinks, and if you've got room for that, that's great. And another tip I have for that, if you go up here on the top, I like to put them in a tote or a carrier, and that way you can just pull the whole thing out, do your cleaning, and then put the whole thing back, and it's really easy. You're not grabbing all those different bottles of chemicals and cleaners and things. I also like to use this tote if you don't have room to keep your cleaners under here. I like to keep the tote in a central location, like a laundry room or under the kitchen or somewhere where all the cleaners are together. And again, it's the same idea. We just grab the tote, go do the cleaning wherever it is we need to do the cleaning, and put everything back, and it all stays together nice and neat. So those are just a few of the ideas that I have for you for organizing underneath your sinks in the different areas of your home. We talked about before when we're going to purchase our containers, but that's always our last step. We do the sorting first, find out what our categories are, and then we measure our space. So when you're measuring this space, be sure that you know how far down that pipe, that swing pipe, goes in your cabinet. Also be sure, I'm just going to move these out of here really quick. Also be sure you know how much space you have from front to back where those turn-off valves are, because you're not going to be able to get past those, and so that's going to reduce the overall depth of your cabinet. So you want to make sure you take notes on that. If you've got a centerpiece like this, then when you're measuring for containers and things, you know you're going to just do this opening and you can stack things back behind here, but you don't want to get anything that's so wide that you're not going to be able to pull the drawers or whatever, because it's going to hit this centerpiece. And then remember to leave space. So as you close those doors, if you've got the over the door hanging things, that you've got enough clearance to get them in and out of there. You'd actually be really surprised at how much product you can fit under your sink when you start using these techniques and doubling up the space. They do also make, and I'll put a link to this in the comments too, they make, how do I describe it? It's kind of a system, I guess you could say, that goes under. I found it's a lot more user-friendly if you don't have this bar. It's actually little, so you can kind of manipulate the shelving to go around some of those obstacles that hang out under the sink, the pipes, the garbage disposal, things like that. So anyways, I hope this has given you some great tips and some great ideas on ways that you can organize and clean up that area under your sink and really maximize your space. I hope that you will send us some after pics. We love seeing the after pics when you work on these projects. So please be sure to post those in the comments of the video so that we can all congratulate you and give you a big hurrah for the hard work that you did. I think this is going to be the last weekly video. It sounds like maybe we might start be rolling out getting things back to normal a little bit with this quarantine, but it's been a lot of fun doing those, so I don't think we're going to stop entirely. We're just not going to do them every week, but there's still a lot of little mini projects that we could be accomplishing, so keep your eyes tuned in to the Facebook page and your email if you're one of our email subscribers, and we'll let you know when the next video is going to be. Thanks, and have a great week.